Now let's add some kind of bumps on our character's head. So I want to add these sort of rounded bumps along his head. I want them to be fairly low resolution, and then we'll smooth them later on. So I want to use the same sort of topology we use for the head, that is kind of a cube shape. One of the things that we can do if we know we want it to be really rounded is to actually use a sphere, but we can change the sphere type. So remember I said I didn't like the poles as much. So if we change the type from standard to hexahedron, we can get that sort of cube type topology. Let's just reduce our segments. You can see it gets lower and lower res. Let's come down to 8, and I'll use that for the base of our sort of spots there. So let's make that editable. I'm going to get rid of the polygons on the bottom because I want these to kind of stick into his head. So we'll do something like that. Delete those. Go to our points and let's optimize to get rid of those. And now we can take this bit and let's bring it up and sort of scale it down, and we'll just concentrate on one side. Now I'm moving the polygons around. If we go to object, you can see that our pivot is now down here where we left it. And so if you ever want to move your pivot, we can go to Mesh, Axis Center, and let's center axis 2, and it'll move that up. And now in object mode, we have our pivot back where it needs to be. So let's come in here, and I'm just going to start with a couple. Let's kind of scale it out a little bit, maybe bring it in a little, scale the whole thing down, and just kind of move them around a little bit until you get a configuration that you like. So I'm thinking maybe something like that, maybe a bit longer. Kind of bring that down a little bit. So think about these in terms of, being smooth, and then I'll copy it. And let's do another one kind of up here. This one will kind of scale down a little bit more. Move into the head. Maybe rotate it that way. I just want to make sure that there's no exposed edges. And then we can do some kind of smaller ones down here. So again, just control drag that to duplicate it. Do a smaller one right here. Maybe scale that in a bit. And just create kind of a variety. I'm going to concentrate more kind of on the side of the head and maybe around to the back. So let me just pause the video here while I copy a few more of these. It's going to be the exact same procedure. Just control drag it to copy it, rotate it, and scale it into the position that you want, and create kind of you could even do kind of a design if you wanted to. And we'll do something interesting with the material when we come in finish up in the last lesson. So just spend a little bit of time putting some of these and kind of reorient them a little bit if you need to, but let me pause the video and I'll come in with a few more of these placed. So I've just got a few more of these added. Let's grab all of these once we've got them, and let's just do connect and delete. So we'll just call this something like head spots. And then if you want to automatically bring this in, we can hit Alt and hit our subdivision. That'll automatically parent that up in case you don't want to just bring it in and drop it under. Okay, and then same thing here. We can do a symmetry. And the symmetry is off a little bit. I think in this case we need to bring it in separately. We'll create our symmetry and then drop the subdivision in. Oops, there we go. So now we've got our sort of spots little details up on the head there. All right, so let's go ahead in the next lesson and finish up by adding some simple materials. And we'll look at how we can start to separate the materials based on different parts of our object as well. So we'll do that next.